Hello everyone. In today's video, we're going to be looking at how Harvestella pays reference to a classic Chrono Trigger scene. If you've played the original Chrono Trigger, then you'll know that one of the most iconic scenes is when you get put on trial for your actions. In most JRPGs at that time, it was common for the main player to just go around taking everything that they possibly could and using it on their adventure. But Chrono Trigger put a really interesting twist on this in that they punished you for stealing in the early game. When you go on trial, there are several jurors who will judge you based on your actions in the beginning of the game. In the beginning of the game, you'll have the opportunity to steal someone's lunch, which of course will make a juror turn against you and say that you are guilty of a crime. And you have the option to help a little girl find her cat. Helping her will make a juror decide to say that you are not guilty. But if you don't help her, then that one's going to say that you are guilty. In addition, the things that you say during the trial are very important. If you try to put blame on someone else, such as the princess, then the jurors are not going to like that and they're going to say that you are guilty. But if you take responsibility for your actions, then it's possible for all of the jurors to say that you are not guilty. However, in the end, it actually doesn't really matter that much because even if you are declared not guilty, then they're still going to throw you in jail. Chrono Trigger had lots of features like this where your actions would have consequences. So in this game you travel through time, and so there were many times where if you did something bad in the past, then somebody in the present or the future, it's going to have an effect on them. And the trial was one of the interesting ways that they did that. For those of you who have played Harvestella, you will know that there is a scene that pays reference to this. First of all, look at this first opening cut of the trial in the Chrono Trigger, and then here we can see the same scene in Harvestella. When I reached this scene in Harvestella, I was really excited because I didn't know what was happening initially. I did notice that once you go to this winter town, things get a little bit interesting, like there's a few events that happen. And I thought that, okay, I'm going to try to go back and change my actions and see if I can get the church to say that I'm actually innocent. However, in this game, well, let's just take a look at what happens depending on your different actions. In the beginning of Chrono Trigger, you bump into Marley, who's actually a princess, and she's going to drop her pendant. In this scene, you have to speak to Marley to see if she's okay first, and then help her pick up her pendant. Otherwise, they're going to say that you're guilty. In Harvestella, you're going to bump into this guy, and he's going to drop something that's important to him. I've tried picking it up and giving it back to him and not touching it, but it doesn't matter what you do. If you pick it up and give it back to him, or if you just leave it on the ground. Either way, he's going to say that you're a bad person. In another scene, Braca is going to brush past you, and then someone's going to ask you, did you see him? Regardless of what you say, of course, they're still going to testify against you. If you tell them the truth, then they're going to say you're trying to place the blame on someone else. And if you don't tell them the truth, then they say that you're obviously lying. You will also bump into a shady merchant, and this merchant will try to sell you something. Even if you buy it, you don't actually get an item. It just, poofs into nothing. And again, regardless of what you do, they're going to say that you're shady for interacting with him at all. Even though, he's the one who comes up to you and does it. So, you're screwed either way. So these are the three events that they bring up when you are on trial. And as you've seen, it doesn't really matter what you do in Harvestella. They're just going to testify against you no matter what. I think personally that they should have made it so that it was like the original Chrono Trigger where you could get a not guilty verdict. But I think they kind of tried to emphasize that the justice system in this game is flawed. And so it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to get declared guilty either way. The kind of theme of Harvestella and your choices in dialogue, usually they're just to see different types of dialogue back. Like if you say something ridiculous, the characters are going to say something more ridiculous back to you. And they don't really have a huge effect on the story or the gameplay. So I'm really interested to see what you guys think about the references that Harvestella has to Chrono Trigger. There's also a few other small things that I can make another video on. If you guys would like to see that, please let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time.